Hi there everyone, it's Jason Blackman here, and today I'm just going to give you a very brief overview of Xero, which is the cloud bookkeeping package that I favour. And I'm also going to just talk a little bit about cloud accounting and cloud bookkeeping and why I think it is the way we should be going. Now, what cloud bookkeeping actually means is that all your data is stored online in the cloud. Now, there's lots of advantages to me, but I think two of the biggest advantages are, one of them is for us because it gives us the ability to work wherever we want to. In other words, we're not tied to the office or to the house like we would be if we were using a desktop computer for bookkeeping, for example. So what I mean by that is it enables us to, we can go and work in a coffee shop for a couple of hours, or we can work when we're on holiday, not that we want to, but we do have the ability to do that because everything's in the cloud. So basically whenever or wherever you have an internet connection, you're able to work, which I think is fantastic. And I think sometimes as a bookkeeper or an accountant, it does get quite lonely if you're working from home, for example. Especially if you're working for yourself. If you're working for yourself and working from home, life can get quite boring sometimes and quite lonely. So I think one of the huge advantages of cloud accounting is that you can tear yourself away from the house and you can go somewhere else to work. Maybe for a coffee shop for a few hours where there's a bit of company and something going on, there's a buzz going on, but you can actually do some work as well without feeling so isolated, I guess. So I think that's one of the biggest advantages. Now, the other advantage of cloud bookkeeping or cloud accounting is that you can give your clients access as well. Now, sometimes bookkeepers and accountants get a little bit scared by that. They think to themselves, well, if I'm doing the bookkeeping, I don't want the clients accessing the data and messing it all up, and I've been guilty of that myself. I do often think that. But with most packages now, certainly with Xero, and I guess for a lot of others as well, you can actually give the clients read-only access. So in other words, they can log in and they can see all their data, but they can't touch anything. So that's quite often really handy. But it's a big advantage in that you can give the client access, so they're not constantly ringing you up and saying, what's this figure, what's that figure? And I'll kind of give you a little demonstration of what I mean by that. So this is the dashboard for Xero, which is the software that I use. And this is the sort of overview screen. So when you log into Xero, this is the first screen you're faced with. And it's kind of a summary of everything that's going on in Xero right now. So I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail as regards each section on the screen. This video is just to say a little bit about cloud accounting and why I think it's the way to go. And also just to give you a brief demonstration, I guess, of the power of cloud accounting, but without going into too much detail at the moment. So on the Xero screen, we've got the bank accounts. Here we've got the business bank account and the business savings account. Now, as I say, I'm not going to go into too much detail about reconciliation at the moment, but certainly with Xero, the bank rec is a very powerful feature, especially if you're using automatic bank feeds. Now, what that means is Xero will pull data from your client's bank account into the software so that when you log in the morning, your up-to-date data is already there. Now, to me, that feature is incredible, and I will go into that feature in another video because it's so powerful, and it gives you such a powerful offer to clients when you're providing a bookkeeping service. You know, to get data which is literally up to date to the last day is very powerful, and it's not something you'd get without cloud accounting, really. So these two boxes represent the two bank accounts. Now, here we've got the account watch list. Now, what we can do is we can customize this account watch list to whatever we want. So in this case, there's 4 different accounts on there. Now, what I was saying just now about the client accessing the data, I think this is quite powerful, because how many times has your client phoned you up or emailed you and said, oh, advertising and marketing, 7,044, what does that represent? And you've then got to spend the time going into the data and finding invoices as to what that figure represents, what the client's asking for. With something like Xero, what the client can actually do is click on that figure of 704,479, and so we've got April, May and June, so we can see that it's in April, so we can then click the figure again. So the client can sort of drill down into the figure to see what it represents. So the client will then be able to see, well, it represents these 2 invoices here, And if the client says, well, I'd like to look at that invoice there, or I'd like to look at that posting, then they can do that. So what I'm trying to say is it does save you a lot of time in researching information for the client, but it gives quite a lot of power to the client as well. So the client can sort of play around with the software and see what's going on without having to bother you as the bookkeeper or the accountant so much. And I just think that in itself is quite powerful, really. So again, we as the bookkeeper or the client can see invoices owed to us at any one time. So once again, if there's, for example, on this occasion, there's 11 awaiting payment, so you or the client can then drill down into those 11 invoices just to see what they are. So there we go, the client can see instantly what those invoices relate to. So again, it's just time saving. I think it's time saving for you and it's time saving for the client as well. So we'll pop back to the dashboard. And similarly, if we go down the screen here, we've got bills you need to pay. So this is all your creditors or all the client's creditors. So once again, we do have the facility to drill down, as does the client. Again, saving you time, saving the client time. So it's all features that I think that help both us as bookkeepers and accountants and help your client as well. I really think that this sort of thing is delivering clients a very, very powerful service, and this is just scratching the surface really. As I said, I will go into much more detail about Xero and what it can do and what cloud accounting can do in general in future videos, but this is just to sort of demonstrate to you that cloud accounting is very, very powerful, and it enables us to deliver a great service to clients because it enables the client to keep more on track and more on the ball, and that's what clients want, you know. I often used to think to myself that giving clients a set of accounts that's kind of 6 months out of date, to be honest, is pretty useless, you know. And pretty much any accountant can do that, you know. And it doesn't really help the client, you know, that's the thing. What clients want is up-to-date information as to where they are so they can make decisions based on where they are at the moment. You know, once a year has passed and you've done the accounts and they're 6 months out of date, there's not really a lot of decisions you can make based around those figures. But with cloud accounting, with the client having the ability to see the figures on a daily basis, or even a weekly basis, or a fortnightly, or even a monthly basis, to be fair, then the client's able to make much better decisions. And so are you. You can proactively help the client more because you've got far more up-to-date information. So that's a quick overview of cloud accounting and a quick overview of Xero. So hopefully that's been beneficial. And as I say, I will record future clips that go into much more detail about the power of Xero and other packages and the power of cloud accounting in general. So hope that's been helpful, and I'll see you soon.